Genesis Level 2 upgrade.
Hey guys, for today's upgrade we're going to be making a permanent mount for my lead weights. You can see all these little cubes of lead, and right now they're not very well attached. It's just with duct tape and it really sucks. And so for today's upgrade I'm going to be taking this apart, modifying it, attaching these with screws to the upper deck, and that way it's never going to fall off and it's going to be the way I want it to be. For me to do the modification I need space for me to drill holes and all that fancy stuff. So the first thing we need to do is remove the 2 screws in the front and 2 screws in the back. Once we're done that, we're going to pull the upper deck, slide it back and out. Once we pull back the upper deck, now we need to remove the 2 screws that hold on the turnbuckles to the steering bell cranks right there. Now I'm able to freely move the upper deck. But now we must remove the steering bell cranks with these 2 screws and the servo with 4 screws on each side. Alright, it's finally time to modify. So right off the bat you can see that there's nothing else on here. We're going to start by taking off this obsolete duct tape. There we go. Now I'm going to figure out where I'm going to drill all these holes, as well as where they're going to correspond to the upper deck. And I'll meet you when I'm done with that. Alright, so after a day of thought and a little bit of work, here's what I've come up with. So on the upper deck you can see that there's 3 new holes. And with these holes there are corresponding ones with the lead weights, as you can see. So pretty much the way this is going to work is I have a screw and a nut going through each of these holes, and then it mounts to the upper deck. So for an example, and also another thing I did was make a brace, because there's only 3 screws, 3 holes, and there's one missing at the back of the middle one, and so I'm going to mount that brace in between the 2 so that it's going to keep it nice and down like I want it to. So pretty much for this one I'm just going to take it, slide the brace through, and by the way this is just part of a ice cream bucket lid, nothing too serious. Slide it through the correct way, that would be bloody great, like this. Go over to the upper deck. On the other side you can see it just pokes out a little tiny bit. I take this nut, jimmy that on, and then once I have the nut on, I'm going to take my 2mm screwdriver on one side, my tire iron on the other side, and just tighten them together. Not too tight because lead is a very malleable metal. I think that's what it is. And then, yeah, you just make sure it's not too tight. Have it fastened down like that. So here it is, all assembled. I know it doesn't look pretty, but as long as the lead weights are secured to my vehicle, I am happy. So this is good. And for this other piece over here, I didn't realize I needed a longer screw, because you can see it's elevated on this side, it's not. I mean, whichever way you want to put it. But yeah, I did use a longer screw. And if you're wondering, none of these nuts are in the way of anything, not even the servo horn or the steering bell cranks. So I'm good. Now it's time to reattach the servo and steering bell cranks to the upper deck. With the servo and steering bell cranks reattached to the upper deck, we are now going to slide it into the place it's supposed to be in. Then we're going to take the turnbuckles, attach them to the steering bell cranks, slide it in the rest of the way, and reattach these 4 screws. Here it is, all reassembled. I gotta say, this is looking very nice so far. I really like that this is finally secure. I can go out for a speed run and not have to worry about these damn things falling off. So I guess this is it for this upgrade, and I'll see you later.